Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast. I love recording these podcasts for you. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about how you can use an event and maybe a course and a few other things in order to thrive in practice, okay? Now, I've been inspired to bring you this podcast today because as I record it, my team and I are just pulling together the last bits and pieces of the events module that we're putting into the transformation program, okay? So this is actually the last major part of the transformation program. So I opened the doors on August 1, 2023, right? And I'm recording this podcast at the end of February because I do try my best to batch my podcasts. And so as at the end of February, I am pleasantly surprised that the bookkeepers in the transformation program, some of them are ready to start running events, to start selling courses and resources, which in my book, in the succession chapter, I talk to you about this. And I talk to you about making the ideology shift or planting a seed in your mind around how you might bundle in or sell alone intellectual property along with your time for money services, okay, which is really linked to also future proofing. So I love to talk about the tech, economic, and consumer landscape. And if that sounds a bit fancy, just think of it as looking ahead to the future. So we have the now, we have the past, and we have what's kind of coming, and sometimes what we might think of as coming or what we don't even know about is actually here. And when it comes to selling courses, resources, intellectual property, it is well and truly here, my friends. And the pandemic that we had, oh my goodness, can you believe that? It turbocharged all of it. So I won't go into the stats. I've gone into that in my book. What I'd like to do now is get stuck into the episode so I can share with you some really valuable information around events and courses and more, and how you can use them to grow your practice, but passionately about, I'm all about growing your profitability and your time wealth. We don't want to just grow revenue. We want to grow profit, time, wealth, and impact, my friends. And I'm telling you, events and courses and resources, the way you can increase the impact you have on others, on your clients, and also yourself, because it's a concept to love ourselves as much as we love others. So if you're a mama like me, that can be something that is sometimes hard to grasp because we tend to put ourselves last. But I'm digressing, okay? But this is also about impact, impacting your clients, impacting those you serve, impacting even entrepreneurs, business owners in general to help them do better in business and life. So rather than rattle on, waffle on anymore, let's jump into the episode. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice six-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program, and my impact globally. The Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group, or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Okay, so as you could tell in my intro, I'm pretty passionate and pretty excited about this topic today. And I know that it might be very new for some bookkeepers. It might be a little scary to think of running an event. And so all we need to do together today is to learn, to absorb some information, because in terms of doing it, in terms of doing anything, whether it is running an event, whether it is guesting on someone's podcast, whether it is getting up for 60 seconds at a networking event and talking, the things that can be daunting early on and what I call have me in the fetal position, eventually, if we just start to dip our toe in the water and push ourselves through kind of discomfort, one day before we know it, we're doing it And we actually have totally forgotten about the day or the days where it was so daunting and overwhelming and scary, okay? That, my friends, I say from experience. Oh my goodness. If my team is listening to this, they will definitely have a good chuckle over how difficult it was to get me to show up on video, to get me to show up doing a podcast, anything like that. And I'm sure now I come across like a natural. And that's because, like everything, practice makes progress and makes some form of perfection, even though perfection doesn't really exist, right? So let's jump in. Now, what I'm going to do in today's podcast is I'm going to share based on how excited and inspired I am from what the team and I have just created for the tribe, because that's going to be easiest for me, okay? So then all I want you to do is to listen so that you can understand. If you're not going to join the transformation program, then you're going to be able to see what you might like to consider building out in order to one day run your own events or offer up your own courses. Okay, so that's what I want for you from today's podcast. Okay, so I'll first tell you a little bit of my experience running events in my own bookkeeping practice. So some years ago, I decided that I would try running some events just to see what that was like in terms of audience attraction and also in terms of sales. We have audience attraction strategies, and an event is definitely an audience attraction strategy. The way that that's going to translate into sales is really related to your product ladder. So an event or a course sits in your product ladder usually as a welcome line. So as a bookkeeper in practice, a quick word on how to work with me. You can join the waitlist for the Strategic Bookkeeper Transformation Program, which is a world-class, world first, described by members as mind-blowing, which typically pays for itself within a month and has a full money-back guarantee. Simply go to the strategicbookkeeper.global/waitlist. I also have a pricing academy with a calculator and my entire suite of productized services, plus other courses and resources on my website. Email me if you have any questions, okay? Your courses and resources can absolutely also be succession products, and we do that in my practice as well, okay? So we have like a suite of courses and resources which we bundle in with time for money strategy services that form our succession services. Now, if you haven't read my book, succession just means what's next on the menu, and it's known as advisory in our industry, okay? So the event that I'm talking about today is designed to be used as a welcome line. Now, if all that's foreign to you, please do look up my podcasts on Product Ladder and make sure that you have got and read my book, okay? So I tried running events because I also wanted to have a look at mechanics of how it all works in terms of bringing the Strategic Bookkeeper project to the market, okay, the book, the podcast, the program. So everything that I serve up in my program, I have done years of testing, refining, and collateral asset building in order to make sure that it works in a step-by-step way, very process-driven. I know exactly why we're doing it. I know exactly how we're going to use it, and I know the kind of results the bookkeepers can expect. And that's exactly the kind of thing I started doing some years ago. So in a nutshell, I ran an event and I promoted the event across all the different social media platforms, and I also sent it out to our database, et cetera, et cetera. And here's what I discovered. I discovered that running an event is an amazing way to just build a database, because with online events, so I'm talking about online events, you can run it in person, but post-pandemic, online events are where it's at. Hot tip, please never use the word webinar. Remove that from your vocabulary, okay? It's an online event, or it's a free training, or it's a course, okay? So I digress a little bit. One of the things I learned is that an event has the power to give you an incredible boost in your database, and that, my friends, is audience attraction, okay? just as an example, if you ran an event that was how to fix your cash flow woes, then anybody who registers for that event and gives you their name, their email, their phone number is telling you, I've got an itch to scratch. Like, I've got a problem I need solving. You then have a diamond at your feet who you can nurture, through your pipeline to either eventually do business with you or be an advocate for you. Okay. And I talk about all that in my book, the ability to create advocacy for our brand within our market, not just with our clients. So long story short, I created these events and I ran them. And what I learned is that absolutely, they give you an amazing database, okay, and people that you can talk to, nurture, and so on. I also learned that learning how to run an event, create an event, all the learnings around what you get from the event and what you should do with the audience once they come through, creating really high value, powerful content that's not salesy, but still seeks to inform your audience around who you are and your competitive advantage and encourages them to take immediate action at the end of the event or course. All of these things are pretty tricky. Okay, so it takes quite a long time to go from zero to hero in this space. If you are up for it, if you're up for the work, I am right there cheering you on, okay? What I would love is for you to consider coming into the transformation program where we've done it for you, because I'm literally looking at my slides right now that are about 4 years in the making, and I've just sent my team through a rebrief as I improve them even further. And then in the background, I've got other assets we're pulling together that turn the event into a course that can be used in all different ways, both free and paid, as a welcome line and a succession product and more. And also assets around waitlist, okay? Because this is another way you can use an event or a course or a program, is to create a waitlist as well. When I talk waitlist, I'm thinking of one of my amazing bookkeepers who I love and adore, called Deb. So she was on the podcast a little while ago. And if you'd like to listen to that one, it was episode 48. Okay. But I'm thinking about Deb, and I was thinking about her when I was just doing the next rebrief for these slides, because Deb and I were chatting about one of her audience attraction strategies, which is a Facebook group she's found with tradies, and she pays a small fee and she's able to find a lot of audience. Yeah. But it's what you're going to do with that audience once you find them that makes the difference. Or, as I talk about a lot, what are you going to do when a PC knocks on your door, a prospective client knocks on your door? Because that's where so many bookkeepers completely fall over and build busy practices rather than thriving practices, okay? So I'm going to tell you about how I was thinking about Deb in order to help you understand what you might like to do around events and courses. So when Deb and I were chatting after the podcast that we recorded together, we were talking about all these tradies that are talking to her right now, like, I need help, I'm struggling, I'm only surviving, I want to be thriving. And we're also talking about Deb's dream to be a homeowner once again. Yeah. And I have a little joke. It's like, right, Deb, you've said it. It's got to happen now. So the first thing that sprung to mind is I need to rocket Deb into selling intellectual property and using intellectual property along with her time for money services if we're going to achieve that big goal for her of being a homeowner as soon as possible. Okay. Because bundling and selling and using intellectual property like events, like courses, is absolutely the massive opportunity to massively increase your profitability, your impact on yourself, your impact on others, and also your time wealth. So Deb and I had been chatting about her using a course for the tradies in order to help them go from surviving to thriving. And we were also talking about using a wait list so that she could promote the event ahead of running it. And it's exactly the kind of thing that we can do when we build out a really powerful event. Now, in the Strategic Bookkeeper Transformation Program, as an example, so the event that I give you first is around the 7 deadly cash flow sins. So you may or may not know that in the program, I co-author a little ebook with you called called the 7 Deadly Cash Flow Sins, okay? And that this gives you profile as an author. It gives you an incredibly powerful high value welcome line. It gives you a content treasure trove that you can chop up and create new content like podcasts. It positions you with a competitive advantage to not only onboard new clients without price as a priority, but also to upgrade existing clients. It's an amazing gated nurture asset. Okay, a gated nurture asset is a welcome line, okay, in your product ladder. It simply means when you give it away, it requires someone to give you their name and email address and maybe their phone number. And nurture asset means that it's an asset, okay? So an ebook is an asset, a brochure is an asset, a website is an asset. These are digital assets. So it's an asset that nurtures your audience, your market, your prospective clients through the customer journey, into pipeline and into advocacy for your brand. Now, I feel like I'm sharing a shiz ton in this podcast. And if your head is spinning, I'm just going to say to you, listen to it 5 times, okay? So I am bursting at the seams to show Deb the collateral that we have before it is even finished. But I'm going to hold back. By the time you listen to this podcast, it will all be rolled out and in the program. So now, using Deb as an example, but also keeping it relevant to you, let's think about your audience attraction strategy. So let's say that's business networking, or let's say you've developed an EAP, that's an evergreen advocacy partner, like a digital marketing agency that serves the same audience as you, Or like Deb, Deb has lots of different attraction strategies, okay? On average, since joining the Strategic Bookkeeper program and getting everything implemented, Deb is actually bringing on a client a week now, okay? If you ask Deb, how are you doing it? She says, I'm doing all the things that Jeannie says to do, and I'm not missing a step, okay? So let's say you've got one of these audience attraction strategies at play and you create an event or a course, okay? So you have some great marketing copywriting. And as I've said before, if there was only one marketing professional I could have on my team, it would be a marketing copywriter, okay? And if you do come into the program, you are getting that team. You're getting extraordinary marketing copywriters, okay, along with all the other members of our team. So let's say you got a great copywriter and they created an amazing event or course pitch, and it really hit the mark in terms of what you know, your audience and your market, the kind of problem they want to solve. And I gave you an example, right? It's around how to fix your cash flow woes, So let's say you created that and you create a nice, let's call it a pitch document, which seeks to kind of explain the problem that you want to solve, the fact that you've created this event or course to solve that problem, that you'll be running it soon. There are limited places and you can join the wait list here, and we'll let you know as soon as it's going live and give you the opportunity to do this course or come to this event, okay? Because I'm talking about being able to use this multi-purpose as an event or as a course. Anyone who joins your wait list is telling you, I've got a problem that needs to be solved. Okay, so we're back to database. And then once you've got your wait list in place, you can roll that course or that event out to your wait list. This podcast's not really going to explain how to do that. I think I go into it a little bit in my book. If you really want to know the how, or you need a lot of help around the how, then the transformation program is great for you, as I haven't created a standalone course to teach how to run events as yet, okay? I would say that the events and courses module of the transformation program is valued at more than the fee for the entire program. And there are many parts of the program like that, like the $1 Million Storybook brochure and more, that you would pay far in excess of what you pay for the entire program to have that built out, okay? So then, to rinse and repeat a little, you've got all these people that not only can you provide them with this amazing nurture asset that's going to send them through the customer journey and allow them to build demand and desire to work with you without price as a priority, to let you solve their problems. You've also got all these people that you can talk to. You can nurture them passively through your database keep in touch activities, or you can also nurture them in a more active way with business development activities, okay? And in recent podcasts, I have talked all about this, okay? So if any of this is foreign to you and you're a bookkeeper looking to thrive in practice, you must immerse yourself in all my content, my book and every podcast, okay? And then when you are ready, jump into the program. Now, here's another really exciting way that you can take this event, turn it into a course, and use it in order to massively stack your value, okay? So you create the event, you record the event on Zoom, either with people in the room or you can do it by yourself. Then you basically make that a course in its own right, okay? So a video content that seeks to educate someone around solving a problem is a course. Yeah. So you can help solve a problem for an entrepreneur with information. In effect, that's a course. All right. So you can create this course standalone and you can use it to put into your productized service. So when a prospective client wants you to do a proposal to do their bookkeeping and you want to increase the value of what you're offering them, you could offer this course as a limited time bonus if they sign up with you within a short term. Now, the way that I teach you to do that in the program is not salesy. So I'm going to say, please don't make it salesy. We had someone do a lot of salesy stuff recently and it did not resonate and the conversion rates were really low. And that's because, as I've said before, selling is dead, self-assessing is in, the death of marketing and the rise of PR. So what I said just then was a little salesy, but the way that we position it is more about solving problems, helping people make decisions and so on. The moral of the story there is that to create a short course like this, which again can be an event, can be turned into a short course, is an amazing way to create intellectual property that gives you a competitive advantage and stacks the value of the productized services that you offer up to your prospective clients in order to have them on board without price as a priority. The other thing that the events and courses like this do is help your existing clients to go through the customer journey in order to upgrade from basic bookkeeping to strategic bookkeeping, which is way more fun because it's way more impactful, okay? If you are totally immersed in my content, it would have made sense. If you are not totally immersed in my content, it probably wouldn't have made sense. And the moral of that story is immerse yourself in my content because I want to help you thrive in practice, okay? So why don't we wrap this up with action steps? If you have not already joined my transformation program, that is obviously an option, okay? As I said, one of the learnings from building out and testing and refining events is that it does take a long time, okay? So it's taken me years and years and years and years and years and years and years to get this right. But if you join the program, it's all done for you. The other thing you could do is reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you either via email or via my social media channels with questions, comments, suggestions. And that might even be, Jeannie, I'd really love to be able to purchase a standalone course that walks me through creating events and courses and resources. And if that's something that there is enough demand for, I'll certainly look at doing that. The other thing you can do is just go for it. If you want to go for it and try and create your first event and promote it, or your first course and promote it, there is no failing. There is just doing it, okay? If you do it, you're going to learn from what you do, and then you can do it again and again and again and again and again until you get to a place where you feel like you're getting the results that you want to get, okay? And if at any point you feel like it's getting too hard, again, you can always join my program. I'll always harp on about that because I know how impactful it is for bookkeepers. And you'll have to excuse my voice. It's still a bit crackly from everything that I have been going through. So my friends, that's a wrap on this podcast. I do hope that you got some value out of it, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So what are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got two options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.